Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Okay. Hello, Death by Southwest. I've been talking to Patreon for a few minutes on the Zoom recording, and then I just turned on GarageBand to record for everyone else. I don't know why I feel the need to tell you that, but maybe that's just part of my hugely oversharing personality. Hi guys, how was everyone's weekend? I hope everyone had a lovely weekend. I'm going to tell you all about my weekend because I don't have too much other exciting stuff, although I did. So today I got just about caught up on Instagram messages. I went back as far as I think 8 or 10 weeks, and there were messages that I hadn't responded to from 10 weeks ago. Again, I don't want it to sound like, oh my God, I get so many messages. Like I'm so overwhelmed. I can't keep up. No, that's not it at all. Like it was maybe in total 20 or 25 since like the last 8 weeks that I haven't responded to. So I did go and I did go back and respond to those while I was driving to my dog walk with Jinx today and walking Jinx, which was eventful as some of you on Instagram who I was responding to as this happened or right after it happened. I went to walk Jinx today and we walked like through the whole neighborhood, the whole community, and in the back of the community, there's like a big uphill. And then when you get to the top of the hill, you can go right or left, and both lead to like a cul-de-sac. So it's my least favorite part of the walk because it's very uphill. But when I get to the top, as Patreon probably knows, because I've definitely recorded, like morning walk and talks while doing this. And I'm like, like I can't breathe when I get to the top. So when I got to the top this morning, there was a car that had driven up and was like coming to the stop sign at the top of the hill as well. And then there was a dog, like a Doberman mix looking dog, with a collar and a leash, but no owner. The leash was just dragging behind him. And this car, 2 cars did this before I made my way over to the dog. Just drove up the hill, saw the dog, saw that there was no one walking them. I don't know if they assumed that it was my dog, even though I already had Jinx in like his leash in my hand. I'm walking him. And they just kind of like maneuvered around the dog and like drove on their way to their house. I just cannot understand that. Like, who sees a dog with a leash and a collar and no owner and just is like, I'm sure the dog's fine. What? Makes no sense to me. Anyways, I was able to, hold on, I'm writing down something else I want to remember to say in this bonus. The dog was friendly enough that he let me like get close to get his leash, and Jinx, who sometimes growls or barks at dogs, like doesn't seem to like dogs that he doesn't know, I guess. Cause he has a dog that the woman who I walk Jinx for, she has another dog. I just don't walk that dog cause she's a little bit older, Bailey. So Jinx let me get close enough to this dog whose name was Groot, to pick up the leash, and Groot let me get close enough to get the leash, and they were fine. They like smelled each other. It was a chance that I was taking here, but I tried to go very slowly so that if I got the vibe from either of them that like, this isn't a good idea, that I could like go tie Jinx up, get Groot, and try and call the number. But luckily they seemed fine. I was able to call the number on the collar and leave a message, and the guy called me back, and he was just like, yeah, oh, I'm so glad you have my dog. Yeah, he got away from me this morning. I was like, okay. He sounded older, which some would say that I'm older as well, but older than me. Maybe my dad's ish age. And he was like, well, where are you? And I said, I'm, the neighborhood that I walk Jinx in, it's a gated community, and there's no street signs in this community. They have like very fancy tile signs that are not street signs. They're like, it's like a boulder at the end of, at the end of a road. It says like Manzanita this or something. And I guess you assume that one of the roads you're on is Manzanita this. So I was like, I don't know. So I, looked at Google Maps and it told me I was on Pescado something. So I told him that, and he was like, he sounded like he knew it, because I'm assuming that this dog is from this gated community. And he was like, okay, yeah, I'll be there. And I'll just drive. I'm not sure where that is, but like, I'll be there. I'll just drive around the neighborhood and find you. Because I said, I'm in blank estates. I don't know why I can't just say it, but I feel like most people I know are like, don't share all these location things. Who's coming to see where I walk a dog? Like, nobody cares. So I feel like I could share it, but out of an abundance of caution, I'm not. So anyways, that's, so I'm kind of like, so Groot, we're at the back of this community, and Groot is not, we walk, and then we're going to go. I'm like, okay, well, let's just start heading back up to the front gate, I guess, because his owner hasn't shown up yet. And Groot like doesn't want to go. And he's trying to pull me in between these two houses. And I was like, well, if neither of these are your house, I don't know. I was like, maybe he came from here, like from in between these two houses, meaning he doesn't live in this community. He came up the back side of the community. I don't know. I have no idea. So I just start walking both of the dogs towards the front gate. I make it to the front gate. We've now walked through the entire community and no owner. This story is going to have a real lackluster ending, guys. Basically, the owner called me and realized that I was the community that I was in, and he thought I was in his community. I was not. I gave him directions. He showed up about 15 minutes later. So this dog must have traveled some distance. And he was very grateful. He was very appreciative. And I gave him his dog, and that was it. He drove off, and then I took Jinx home and I left. But so happy ending. Like, that's the kind of coming upon an animal that isn't mine story that I can really get behind. But it was Thursday, I believe. Yeah, Thursday. I was driving home from Albertsons or something, and where I usually turn to come to my house, like on my street, is very close to Albertsons. So where I usually turn, there was like so much backed up traffic. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go up one more street and kind of like take a roundabout way. And I did that. And I'm going to post pictures of this. I'm making a list as I go. I'm going to post a picture of Groot. I'm going to post a picture of what I'm about to tell you. This castle. So it's not in my neighborhood, but it's a neighborhood adjacent. There's like a castle. I know that it's a small castle, and it's not even a castle. It's I literally just said it's a castle, but it's not a castle. It looks like a castle wall and castle doors. I want to say there's like two stone lions out front. Oh, I have a cat hair in my nose. But I could be wrong. I might just be, that just feels like castle-y to me. So I might be making that up in my brain. I've driven by this place a billion times with Jenna, with Mark, by myself. And we all have wondered, like, what is it? It's not a business. Is it a castle that someone lives in? Is there a house? Like, what is it? Never figured it out. You really can't find anything out online. So I was driving by it on the way home to my house, and there's this big, beautiful, like, looks like a Mastiff, maybe a Mastiff mix, but mostly Mastiff dog, just like lingering in the, like, on the street in the driveway, essentially, of this castle. No collar, no leash. And so I got, and we're very close to a main road, to Campbell, which is a very busy road. And so I'm like, oh my God, okay, why? And I was on the phone with Brandon, and he's talking to me, and I'm literally like, damn it, why does this always happen to me? He's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, there's a dog with no owner, leash, collar, nothing. And it's like, we're near a main road. I was like, well, I have to get out. So just hang on. He was like, all right, just call me back. So we hung up. I got out. And as soon as I stopped and got out, the dog started barking nonstop at me, runs a little bit more down the driveway away from me, turns around, bark, bark, bark. It has like a big no trespassing sign on the driveway. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to disturb these people. I don't want to trespass. I don't want somebody to like, I don't think anybody's going to shoot me, but I want somebody to like, I don't know. It's not my property. There's a giant barking dog. But every time I kind of like started to back up to my car, the dog started coming towards the street again. And I was like, So I kind of like almost chased him all the way to the back of the property down the driveway. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm going down the driveway. And as I'm going down the driveway, this is like 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, hello, is anyone home? I don't know what home, because at this point, all I see is a giant castle wall and a driveway. And in this neighborhood, which is like adjacent to my neighborhood, there's no castles. These are like, my neighborhood is like tiny little casita houses, like 1 and 2 bedrooms, no castles. So this is very out of place. Just to set the tone and give some context here. So, and finally I make it all the way down the driveway, and he's just very clearly, there are 2 houses behind this castle wall thing, I find out now. And this dog runs all the way to the house in the back that does have what looks like a gate that closes in front of that property. So it's kind of like these properties are back to back to back, and the driveway runs alongside all 3 of them. Castle wall thing, house right behind it, house behind it. And I'm just like yelling at this point, hello, your dog was in the street. And nothing. I'm not actually going in the gate of the like furthest back house where this dog has run and is now just standing in front of the property, like in the middle of the gate that is not closed, barking at me. And finally I hear a woman in that house. I hear another dog and a woman in that house. And I was like, I know I'm trespassing. I'm so sorry, but your dog was in the street. And she like comes like rushing out. She's in like her like house coat or house robe and like house slippers, it looks like, and was just very grateful. Really. There's really nothing else to the story. Oh, it is. What she said was really, I thought, very sweet. So she was just like, oh my God, thank you so much. I had no idea. My husband leaves at 4 a.m. And I was thinking like, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. Has this dog been wandering around all day? Not my problem. Just glad that it made it home and didn't get hit by a car. And she was like, you could tell that sometimes I think people's dogs get out and it happens. It's an accident, and they could be a fantastic pet owner, and it's a horrible, horrible accident or mistake or whatever. And so they are devastated, and then they're so grateful when they hopefully find that pet. Other times I think that people are irresponsible and shouldn't own pets because they let them wander, they let their cats wander the busy neighborhood, and they aren't careful about keeping their dog in the yard or whatever the case may be. This woman, you could tell, like really loved this dog and was totally shocked and so relieved all in the same moment. And she just kept saying, thank you. And she was like, weren't you scared? Because the dog is still barking at me. I was like, no. I mean, I don't know. No, not really, I guess. And even if I was, like, I would, I have pepper spray. I don't know. I'd risk, because I could run I don't know. I could run fast. I could spray my pepper spray. I'm not sure what, I wasn't really thinking it. I was just thinking, let's make sure this dog doesn't get hit by a car. Does anybody else do that? Like, once she said that, I was like, yeah, I guess it is a really big dog, and he is barking pretty aggressively at me. I think this is one of those things where I feel, well, I'm not invincible because I've been bitten by a dog. He like bit my lip off. I'm sure I've shared that story. That was when I worked at a vet here in Tucson. So I guess I don't think I'm invincible when it comes to getting hurt or bit by like a dog or an animal or something, I think I just don't, like, I don't care, or I don't care enough. Like, it doesn't cry. If it's between like running out into the street to try and save like a turtle, and I have a story about that I will not share today, but I will share because it has to do with my ex-husband, and we're going to keep today like very positive. Like I would just do it, you know? But if I'm trying to think of another situation where I wouldn't be like that, like, I honestly, sounds so bad. Please don't hate me and turn off this. Well, if you hate me and turn off the podcast, so be it. If it was a grown adult person, like wandering into the street or putting themselves in the way of danger, and it would also be very dangerous for me to try and save them or help them or warn them, I don't know that I would. And that sounds really mean and like a not good person. I just don't know that I would. But for an animal, they are so helpless and they don't know what's going on necessarily. I don't know. That's the truth. I don't know how we got here. I mean, I know I was talking about the 2 dogs that I managed to get back to their owners, which sounds like a giant patting myself on the back, and that's not how I meant it to sound. This is just what the past few days have been for me. So just sharing that. Anyways, the woman was very grateful. She's holding the dog. I said, okay, great. I'm so glad. Turned around and started kind of walking back to my car. And she said, I don't know how to thank you. You are going to heaven. You are going to heaven one day. And I turned around and said, thanks. Like, I didn't really know how to respond to that. But if I believed in heaven, I think that would be a very, sweet and genuinely like kind-hearted thing to say to somebody. So I took it that way. Even though I don't necessarily believe in heaven, I don't believe in heaven. I think that I can just appreciate how grateful she was. So, but all of this is to say, like, I'm putting it out there in the universe. I'm putting it out there in the universe now to please stop putting dogs in front of me that need to find their owners, because it hurts. It like chips away at my heart a little bit every time, because I'm afraid that I'm not going to find the owner or something's going to happen. So that's enough. I'm good. We've had 2 in less than a week. Let's no more, guys. No more, not guys, but universe. So that was kind of like how my weekend started. That was Thursday. And then this morning, so kind of how my weekend ended. So now the in-between weekend, Friday night, I went to bed at 8:15. I can't remember if I feel like I posted something on Patreon, but I can't remember. I think I did. Yeah, I had leftover white chicken chili. And I feel bad. I posted that recipe on Patreon, and it feels a little like... I've only heard this word on TikTok, and I would never say it in my normal conversation, but it's fitting here, so forgive me. It feels like gatekeeping. Like I have this great recipe, but I'm only putting it on Patreon. And I don't know why. So I'm going to make a note. I will also put it on Instagram because it is really a good recipe. And I think Betsy on Patreon made it, she said, and she said it was good, which makes me very happy to hear. So I had some leftover white chicken chili Friday night, went to bed at 8:15. Saturday morning, woke up at 4, no shock, and couldn't sleep. So me and the dogs went out. I did record a video Saturday morning for Patreon, but I think I got so freaked out because it was so dark. It was darker than our night walks. You know, we're walking every morning now around 5:45, and it is dark, but it's getting light. And every night we walk around 6 o'clock, and it's definitely dark, but I have a headlamp and it's fine. But, and you know, depending on the moon phase, there's sometimes a moon. Saturday morning, there was no moon. Friday night, there was a moon. Saturday morning, the moon was gone. It was pitch black and it felt just very creepy to me. I don't know why. So I started to record a video for Patreon. I think I got freaked out, and then I called Mark because he was driving to work. And he talked to me for the rest of that walk. My normal walking partner in the morning, Jackie, well, you guys know because we had an episode with her last week. I was just going to explain who Jackie is to you, which reminds me, by the way, I know I posted on Instagram stories a little bit ago, but Jackie listened to the whole episode when I published it. And she was like, oh, I talked too much. I talked way too much. And she was like, you were complimentary, which I don't even remember being complimentary, like overly complimentary to her. But she said, you were so complimentary and I didn't give you any compliments. And she was very hard on herself. I really enjoyed doing it with her. Now, that's not shocking because she's my best friend. And it was fun. Honestly, it was fun to do it with someone new. Like I've only ever done these with Mark or Jenna, and I enjoyed doing both of those, but Jackie, it was interesting to get a different perspective. I thought she had she really listened and had some good questions and she had a really fun time. So basically, I would love to know what you thought. Now, keep in mind, it was her first time ever being on a podcast ever. I thought she did great, but yeah, I would love to know what you guys thought because I would really like to do it with her again or from time to time. But your opinion matters to me and to her. She was like, she's like, don't tell me if it's lots of bad comments. I was like, I don't think it's gonna be lots of bad comments. It's funny. Somebody on Patreon, I think it was on Patreon, said, yes, Micah said, I had to take my brain back there about the McGriddle comment. And that's honestly, I wanted to name the episode like McGriddle something because when she said, what's he doing there that early in the morning getting a McGriddle? And I don't know, it like tickled me. I thought it was really funny. So that was a side note to please send a text, email, or DM. I'm going to try and be better. I have a lot of walks with Jinx this week, so I'm going to try to keep checking Instagram regularly every day and just responding with my voice notes to people. But yeah, let me know what you think. She's in Belize right now. So she, I obviously talked about Belize and how much we loved it. And she like gets travel alerts or something. And so I don't know, 6 months ago, she got a travel alert that said, very inexpensive tickets to Belize, and her birthday is this week. So 6 months ago, she was like, well, I'm going to book it. And, then I'll talk to her husband. She was like, I'll talk to my husband and see if my parents can take the kid and all the things. And if it works out, then great, we'll go. And if not, like she got, she had traveler's insurance. She could have canceled it basically. But it worked out and they just got there today. And I'm incredibly excited for her because she works and she's a mom and, she doesn't have a lot of fun time to do fun things without a child, even though her child is amazing. So I'm really, really excited for her that they're there and I hope they like it. Belize I don't know, they're staying at a totally different part of the island and at a complete, we stayed in an Airbnb. They're staying at like a beautiful resort. And so I think it's a different trip. And I'm hoping that they're only there for like 4 days or 5 days. So I'm hoping it's like very, very relaxing. Like it took us, we stayed far away from town, and had a golf cart the whole time to get around. And we were at an Airbnb. There was no restaurant at the Airbnb. Like it was, it was one room. And so it took us a minute to adapt, to like figure out our way around and like, okay, we're kind of far away from anything. So we have to travel a pretty good distance to like get groceries or go out to a restaurant or bar or anything. Although we can walk out the door and be on the beach, which was wonderful. It was, I'm trying to think like how to say this. Our trip was definitely adventurous. We were there for 2 weeks. We drove all through the mainland, rented a car and drove all through the mainland. And then we're on this island for a week, had a golf cart the whole time, explored the whole island. Like it was very amazing and perfect for us, but it's not a vacation for everybody. It's not a vacation. Our vacation wouldn't have been a vacation. How many times can I say the word fucking vacation right now? Jeez. For everyone. Like some people want to go on a trip. I'm not going to say the vacation word. Some people want to go on a trip and like just relax and have somebody serve them drinks and food. And that was not our trip. We had drinks on the beach, but we bought a handle of vodka and mixers and made them in our teeny tiny little like kitchen and then walked out our door to the beach. You know, nobody was serving us food and stuff. And I've been on both types of trips, so I completely understand the appeal of both. My preference is like, I think it also depends on who you're with, whether it be your romantic partner, friend, family, whatever. I would not have wanted to do my trip to Belize with my ex-husband, even when we were liked each other and we're getting along. Like I would not have trusted him to maneuver in certain situations that Mark and I found ourselves in, or to adapt as easily, or to make me feel safe, or any of the things. So like, I do think it also depends who you're with. I don't know why I'm lecturing you on vacations right now. So I'm just going to like pull the emergency brake on this one and get back to saying Jackie's in Belize. I'm very happy for her. I hope she's having a wonderful time. I'm also extremely jealous. I told Mark I would cut off one of my fingers if it meant that I could be on vacation in a new country with him right now, exploring. He said, well, let's not cut off any limbs. Let's just try and save money and plan one next year. And I was like, okay. So, okay. So Jackie, I found the dogs. That's how my weekend started. And Jackie's usually my talking partner. I was walking on Saturday morning. I'm retracing my steps in this conversation, guys. Hang on. Saturday morning, it was cold. I wasn't talking to Jackie because she was getting ready to go to Belize, which she went today. And so I talked to Mark. That was it. He was getting burritos for all of his contractors that were working at his job site because it was a Saturday. Me and the dogs went home and cleaned like crazy. Fridays or Saturdays are my cleaning days, and I enjoy them so much. I have been listening to a podcast a little bit when I'm cleaning or grocery shopping, and it's called Kill List. It's by Wondery, which I love and hate because I feel like Wondery is such a like giant in the podcasting space that I almost want to like not support their podcast because I want to support more independent podcasts, but they have some really good podcasts. So Kill List, it's super interesting. It's about this like actual kill list on the dark web that these journalists come across, and then they try to warn people that a hit has been taken out on them. Each episode is a different person on the kill list that they're trying to like warn, and they share the whole story, and it's super interesting. So I cleaned and listened to that, and then Mark surprised me. He went by this, I'm going to give a shout out to I'm trying to talk about, I don't go to that many businesses like outside of like Costco and Albertsons. So when I do, I'm trying to share them on here just because I would want somebody to share my business if I had one. So he went to Nicholas Firewood on Stone Avenue here and he was able to leave work for a little bit because everybody, I guess, was self-sufficient for once. And he got 2 wheelbarrows full of firewood, juniper and oak, I believe, because he wanted to see which one was more crackly and which one burned longer. And a big tree stump to chop it on. And he brought it over here, and we finally got rid of this disgusting, I should have taken a picture before I threw it out, but I had found a couch on the side of the road, I don't know, a year or two ago, and I put it in the backyard because no judgment to anybody who would, but I love found furniture but if it's fabric, meaning that there can be like skin cells and hair and other bodily things or bugs like living in the cushions or the fabric, any kind of fabric. If it's not cleanable with a Clorox wipe, I'm not putting it in my house, basically. So I found this couch, and it looked really clean and really nice. And so I put it in the backyard because I thought, well, whatever, backyard couch. And it did a great job, but you really can't have furniture in Tucson, at least in Phoenix, I'd imagine, that is not specifically made for the outdoors. And even then it sometimes doesn't last. Like between the very bitter cold is too strong. Between the cold of the winters, and the brutal heat in the summer, and then the monsoons, it just doesn't last. So it held up. This was not an outdoor couch. This was like a regular ass IKEA couch, I think. It held up. It lasted for about 2 years, and Henry loves it. That's why I didn't get rid of it for so long. But at this point, like the fabric on the cushions was ripped. The under fabric was ripped. So foam is just exposed. It was gross. It was time. So we got rid of that and lined up all the firewood, because I know everyone is wondering where all the firewood went in my backyard. That's why I had to tell you about the couch. This is oversharing at its greatest right now. We're never going to make it through my list of things that I wanted to talk about. I don't even know how long this has been going on. Let's see. 30 minutes. Good grief. Ay. All right, I'm going to move along. Dropped off firewood Saturday. Saturday night he came over. We made tacos and watched this new show that I have had like in my watch list, which is not actually on my TV. It's an app that I have on my phone called Next Episode. I've definitely talked about this because I love it. And I think I paid $2 once to get like the upgrade. And then you can save as many shows as you want. I'll post a picture of it. TV app. I love it because I can keep track of all these shows, and I can look in, they have an area where you can look and see like upcoming shows. Anyways, this show it's called From. It's an MGM Plus original, but it's on AMC, I think. Has been on my list forever. And I think I just thought like, it looks a little supernaturally for me. But Friday night, I think I decided I'm going to watch episode 1. Just fuck it. Let's try it. And I really liked it. It's from the people who made Lost. And I'm a huge fan of Lost. I loved it. I was not somebody who watched it when it was actually on TV. I watched it after the fact. So I probably started watching it in, when did I meet my ex? 2008, maybe? I don't know when Lost came out, but loved it. And so the same people who did Lost did this show From, and it does definitely have, it has like at least one of the same actors, and it does have a similar vibe. It is a little supernaturally, which is generally not my jam unless it's done really well. And as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, no, that's a lie. That's not true at all, because I just watched Teacup on Peacock. Definitely a supernatural vibe there. Loved it. I watched The Last of Us on HBO. That's a zombie thing. Usually I don't love... No, I do love zombie. I mean, I don't love zombie things, but like I loved Zombieland, the movie. And I loved, The Walking Dead. I did love the first few seasons, and then I fell off. Shaun of the Dead, really funny. So maybe I do like zombie things, and I just like to say that I don't. I don't know why. Anyways, supernatural stuff has to be done a certain way. Otherwise, it feels really tacky to me, my opinion. And so I wasn't sure about this, but I gave it a go. Really like it. So Saturday night we rewatched episode 1 so that Mark could see it. He liked it a lot. I think now we're on as of last night, episode 5 maybe. I'm hoping it stays good because I really enjoy it. And apparently it's on the 3rd season on TV right now. So I don't know if anybody watches that or wants a suggestion, but I've enjoyed it. And so we obviously made a fire and watched From, made tacos. And then Mark was like, the fire's so wonderful. I want to sleep in the family room. I was like, well, I'm not sleeping on the couch. So you can sleep in the family room though. Don't get me wrong. I've slept on the couch like many times. Just didn't feel like sleeping on the couch. Well, he convinced me to move the mattress into the family room in front of the fireplace, and it was so cozy. The dogs were super pumped about it, and it was lovely. It was really fun. It felt like a big sleepover in the family room. It was super fun. I almost didn't want to move it back, but I did. I moved it back yesterday. And then yesterday we went to 2 Costco's because it's a big Sunday for us. We went to Snooze Eatery for breakfast first, which we only will do like maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months, because it is not It's like a chain. It's nothing that I mean, I think it's delicious. Let me stumble over my words trying to not hurt snooze eateries' feelings while also being honest. I'm just going to be honest. The food's great. The drinks are good. It's nothing fucking special. It's good, but it's not like an independent little mom and pop owned, country diner with all this character. It's a chain restaurant that they have all over Tucson and Phoenix, and I'm assuming other states. I love the Bravocado Coast because I'm a very basic white person like that, and I really do. I'm not going to apologize for that for once. I'm not going to apologize for something. I love it. It's so good. And they make a bloody mimosa, which is like champagne and blood orange juice and a shot of vodka. So, I mean, that's really right up my alley. It's delicious, but the drinks are like $15, which is absolutely insane. So we don't do it often, but we did do it this past Saturday. Then we decided we were going to go to two Costco's. We were hoping to only go to one, but we went to two because we were looking for Grillo's pickles. Has anybody had these pickles? Because look, I told Mark about them. He was like, they're not going to be better than Clausen. They just aren't. Like, Clausen pickles is the standard. And okay. And then he tried them and he's like, okay, they're good, but not better. And then he kept eating. And now he can't stop. He loves them. They are so vinegary and so good. I never thought I'd talk so much about pickles, but I have a few other like product things, guys, that like blew my mind this weekend. Okay, Grillo's pickles. You can get them at Fry's. I think you can get them at Sprouts, but I wanted the big box of them, big jar. It's plastic, but jar. Nope. Neither Costco had them. It was very disappointing. But we found plenty of other things at Costco. I don't know if it was the espresso martinis that Mark had at breakfast, but he was in a very shopping mood. And generally, I'm not a big shopper. I love food shopping. And look, if you're going to take me makeup or like hair product shopping and I'm not paying for it, great. I can spend $1 billion. Beyond that, like, I don't know. I get too in my head. Oh, do I need it that much? Should I spend the money that much? And like, it's just not even fun. Then it's not even fun. So then I'm over it. But Mark was like, I want you to pick out 2 really fun things. They can't be food. It has to be like 2 things that you really want. I was like, okay. And again, usually I'm bad at this game. Not that this is a game that like people want to play with me often. Pick out 2 things, anything you want. But I'm like, no, I don't want you to spend the money. No, I don't really need it. And I almost become annoying about it. Like, it annoys me hearing myself describe that situation. And I know that Mark has said this to me before. And I'd be like, no. So today I decided, you know what? Or whatever, this Sunday I decided, okay, fine. And so we went up and down every aisle and like looked at every single thing. I mean, we looked at everything from like the running gloves because it's been cold and I've been outside in the morning and night.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're gonna love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
Holiday decor, big one for me. Collagen powder. I found really good collagen powder I wanted. He told me that's not allowed. That's not fun enough. And then I came across this comforter and it came with 2 pillowcases. And when I tell you, I can't think of anything that I've bought or that someone's bought for me in the past literally like years that has made me as happy as this. I'm going to post a picture. It's not even about how it looks because it is that soft. And for me, that's big. Like I'll get something a little bit less soft or less comfortable for the bed if it looks really like exactly how I want it to look. And that changes, monthly usually. Like my bedroom used to be all white. Now it's like dark green. because I get stuff at Ross. So it's easy to kind of replace it. Anyways, wow. Over explaining. It's by a brand called Frye, Frye. I almost crawled inside of the box that held all these blankets, like in the actual aisle. That's how comfortable it was. I was like, I have to have it. And it was $50. And I was like, oh, I don't know. He was like, it's fine. I was like, nah, it's expensive. And I have a comforter. It's not a great comforter, but I have a comforter. And finally, I just was like, okay, you're right. I want it. This is it. I want this. And then I found slippers that were kind of like the same furry material and got those. And both things are really filling up my cup, so to speak. Like I am thrilled about both. And Mark actually loved the way the comforter felt so much that he was like, I'm going to get one for my house too. So he got one too. We slept at his house last night, so I haven't even slept in mine yet. I'm going to post a picture though, because it is like sleeping in a cloud, a hot cloud. It's very warm, but wow. And so we were talking about that last night that like, oh, and then he's been looking for this for a really long time, a Blackstone griddle. It's like I'm not going to over explain it. It's a griddle that looks like a grill, but it's not a grill. It's a griddle. I want to say so much more about it because I feel like that's not explaining it enough, but I'm going to stop myself because I think it is. Okay. Trying to not over explain something or overshare actually makes my brain hurt. Hold on. Mark's calling. Actually, no, I'm not going to answer it. I'll call him back. Is it? Oh, it's just 5 o'clock. Phew. I thought it was 6 o'clock. So he's been looking for this for a while and kind of looking for deals. And at Walmart, they had it for $280 or something, which I guess is usually $350, which seems insane to buy because like he already has a grill. So do we really need a griddle like for pancakes or smash burgers? But I don't know. I guess you can make eggs on it as well. It doesn't matter. He wanted it. If it's going to make him happy, I was like, let's find it. Let's do it. So we went to 3 Walmarts. I don't even think I knew there were 3 Walmarts around here. None of them had it. Now, I left my phone at home, not on purpose. Henry was laying on it. I didn't feel like moving him when we were leaving. So I was like, I don't really need it. If I had had my phone, I would have looked on the Walmart app to see if this was in stock at any of these Walmarts. I just assumed that's what Mark did because isn't that what you do when or is that just me? Like before I drive over to an actual brick and mortar store, I am 100% on the app or online being like, okay, well, what do I need? And do they have it? Now, if I'm just going to browse like at Target or something, fine. But he was going for something very specific. So, and a big ticket item, like there's a chance they don't have it. Well, there's not only just a chance, they didn't have it at any of the Walmarts. And so we're at the last Walmart and he's like, man, bummer. I'm really bummed about it. I was like, well, have you looked to see if it's anywhere else except for just Walmart? And he's like, well, I'm sure they have it at Lowe's. And I said, well, why don't you Google? And I didn't say it this condescendingly as I'm talking right now because that would be very rude. I'm just saying it to you guys like that. But I said, why don't you Google 28-inch Blackstone griddle with hood near me and see what comes up. And he did. And it turned out that Ace Hardware in the same exact strip mall that we were in at the Walmart, Ace Hardware is like 3 stores up. They have it and it's only $249. So it's even cheaper than Walmart. And they have it in stock at the Ace Hardware 10 feet away from us. I was like, amazing, let's go. So we went and we go in and they have it out and the thing says $350. Mark was like, well, must be mislabeled, I was like, we're not leaving. Ask. Let's look again. So we look online. It doesn't say online only. It says pick up today in store at this store for $249. Sorry, I'm talking really close to the mic. That was too loud, guys. Sorry. Anyways, They didn't have any in the back. They only had the one on the floor, but he got it. He's very excited. He's currently seasoning it right now. And that's it. That was the weekend. We made burgers last night, not on the griddle, not on the griddle because it had to be seasoned first. But I was talking about like, I think it is rare, or maybe it's just rare for me. I don't know. So please tell me, please share your experiences. That to buy something and it doesn't like, look, the griddle was expensive. The comforter was $50. I mean, it's not cheap to me, but it's also not expensive. It's somewhere, I don't know. I'm not going to overthink that one. So it doesn't matter about the price necessarily, but like, I do find that it's rare that, at least for myself, that I buy things that I am really so excited about, like that really bring me so much joy. Like, look, I got this, well, Patreon can see, ordered this, it's not a hydro flask because those to me are too expensive. I got this for, I think, $15 on Amazon. And I love it because it has this little handle so I can carry it around very easily. It has a cool carabiner on it. I don't know why it's there, but it feels cool. I like it. It serves a purpose. I use it every single day. It's good. I don't love it. It's not filling me with joy. The slippers, the comforter, joy. Like I honestly, Mark said, can you come over tonight so that we can keep watching From? And I said, I don't know because I kind of want to sleep in my own comforter. Like I'm that excited about it. And I know that it's not possible for every purchase that we make. And I'm saying we, like the collective we, to bring us so much joy, because sometimes you just have to buy like chicken broth and that's not that joyful. But sorry for all the sniffling. I have a stuffy nose. Wouldn't it be nice if we bought more, if more things that we purchased could bring us so much joy and like more than just for a minute, like lasting joy? Now, I don't know if this comforter is going to bring me lasting joy for the next 5 years. Probably not. But for the next 5 months, maybe. I think there's a good possibility. So that's my big advice, is to go buy something that brings you joy for more than just like this afternoon, that brings you joy for a while. And I know that and it doesn't have to be expensive. Last week, I got a coffee mug from Ross for $3, and it's still bringing me joy because it looks like it's from Beauty and the Beast. And I don't even like that movie that much, so I don't know why, but it really spoke to me. And I love drinking coffee out of it. I feel extremely fancy and makes me happy. So it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It just should be something like, sometimes I go to Goodwill and they have amazing glassware, amazing cups, mugs, wine glasses, little plates, little dishes. I got these little, like, I know I talked about this before, these little like glass cups that Mark drinks milk out of, which makes me think he's a serial killer, because only a serial killer would do that. But they still, every time I see him, I'm so happy. So like, I know should is a terrible word to use. It would be nice. Treat yourself to something that brings you a lot of joy. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. I have a few other things. I know like the election happened. I'm not going to talk about that because I think that it's everywhere. And it's not that I don't have an opinion or I don't have things to say. I have so many things to say. I have very strong opinions about this. Mark has heard all of them because I have to get them out somewhere, and I'm not going to do it here because I think that unfortunately it's too polarizing. And while I certainly can be friends with or speak to or enjoy listening to or watching or whatever, whether it's an actual person in real life, like that I know, that I speak to and I'm friends with, or whether it's like an actor or a podcaster or whatever, if you don't have the same opinion as me and the same feelings as me on the election or election issues or things like that, that's okay. I would still listen to you. I would still respect you. To a certain degree, I guess. It depends on what your opinion is. But for the most part, like, if you like the candidate that I don't like, or vice versa, that's okay. Like, we can still be friends. I think that that's how it should be. I know should's a bad word, but I do. I think that's how it should be. And I think that's not how it is for a lot of people. And that's okay. But that is why I'm not going to talk about it, except for this, the past 2 minutes that I've been talking about it. If you are happy about the election, I'm happy for you. If you are devastated about the election, I am devastated for you as well. And I think everything's going to be okay. That's at least what I'm telling myself. Moving right along. I really want to remember to post about my therapist. I have to, because I know I talked about her on a Patreon, a bonus. I can't totally remember. I said I want to like shout her out because she's been so incredibly helpful to me. I guess I could just say it right now too. I don't know why I'm waiting to like post about it. I'm just going to look it up on Instagram right now. Okay, so her work, like her therapy Instagram, I believe this is her therapy Instagram. It's Whole Self Lindsay, WHOLESELF, That's like my emails. Oh my God, look at the bags under my eyes when I have this light up to me. That is, let's turn on the brightness on this phone right now. That's so much better. Her name is Lindsay Christianson. She is, I guess I don't have to say where she is because maybe she doesn't want people to know where she is. It doesn't matter. I don't see her in person. I see her remotely. I believe she does remote work. She's a relationship coach, a therapist. She's like my hero. She really helped me through. I started seeing her when Mark and I were broken up, and she really helped me through some very, very difficult times, and has continued to help me. And to the point where now, I told her the last time, I was like, I don't even know what to talk about. Again, not that I'm like solved, not like, oh my God, I'm fixed, everything's great. That's not a thing. Like, I don't believe that's a thing. You can't be fixed. And I wasn't broken. She's helped me. She's helped my relationship with myself. She's helped my relationship with Mark. She's helped me feel more confident and comfortable being by myself. And I couldn't tell you exactly how. I couldn't put it into specific words for you. I just know that talking to her, I mean, I was seeing her weekly for a while, and now it's more like once a month, which I kind of feel like she's just like doing it to be nice, because like, why do you want a patient that you only see once a month? I would imagine. I don't really know, actually. But I think she's amazing. And so if you are looking for a therapist, or are thinking about therapy, or just talking to somebody, or having relationship issues, I cannot recommend her enough. And I will post, I'm writing that down, post about her. I will share her Instagram profile. So what else? Well, I went through Instagram. I wanted to highlight a few things. Now, I went through it this morning. I've not gone back and checked to see if anybody's written back. So I'm not going to share any names right now, but if you hear me talking about you, you know who you are. That was a stupid thing to say. So we have a listener. I'm going to say we, because I feel like we're a team now. Like, I don't like thinking about this podcast as something that like I do by myself and you are all just listeners. It feels more like a collective thing, because you guys have helped me through, like, honestly, a lot of stuff since I started the podcast. I know that we started this as a true crime podcast, and it is, but the breakup was a big one that like put me down a deep hole, and I just spilled my guts all over this podcast for selfish reasons. It helped me. And then you guys helped me. Losing Izzy was extremely difficult. Like going through, I know that I lost, this podcast was going on when I lost, when Cavalry fell apart. But I don't think I was, there's so much legal stuff going on that I couldn't really talk about it, but anyways, you guys have helped me through a lot of stuff. So that's why I use the word we sometimes. It took me a minute to remember why I started talking about that. Oh man. My brain has felt like off today since the whole Groot, the dog thing, because that like threw me for a loop. And then I was like waiting so long and then got him back. And then it was like, so I was like, so like, yes, reconnected the dog and his owner. And I don't know how your day can get better than that. So it didn't. My day just kind of like, it just kind of like mellowed out into a real boring day. But okay. All right. Bring it in, Margot. We can do it. We can finish this. So a listener that I have been talking to on and off for a while, again, not going to say her Instagram name. She, she sent me a bunch of voice. Let me reel that in, guys. If I communicate with you on Instagram, 99% of the time it's going to be with an audio message where I'm just speaking. I've explained this a lot of times, I think, so I don't need to again. And a lot of times people will not respond with audio messages. They'll just write back. Totally fine. I don't expect you at all to send me audio messages back. Or if you want to, that's great. Doesn't really, I'm unaffected either way. Happy to hear from you however you want me to hear from you. But so I'd been communicating with her. I'd been sending voice messages. She'd been typing back. And then just, well, it was like 5 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago that she sent me audio messages. Of course, I suck at checking Instagram, so I hadn't seen them until today. But I listened to them. I really hope I'm not getting this wrong. I think she's from South Africa, living in Belgium with her boyfriend or possibly her husband now. I know when she moved there, I don't think they were married, and they might not be married yet, but they might be. Oh, I need to write more specific notes. Sorry if I got that wrong. But she sent me these messages sharing about her life. And when I say I was walking, I had my headphones in, so I wasn't actually holding my phone like this, which only Patreon can see right now, but I'm holding up a phone like an old school phone. I was walking, listening to these like, mouth open, like, what? This woman, I'm going to briefly just give you the highlights because I'm hoping she'll let me play her messages on the podcast. She told me about how she worked for, I'm going to butcher this. She did conservation for elephants. She studied, took care of, monitored elephants. And I know she told me where, but I don't remember exactly where. But like, elephants are one of those animals. Most animals make me cry no matter what. Elephants are one of those animals that like, I don't even want to see happy stuff. It does something to me. I immediately tear up because I know that elephants, I see it's happening now. Ugh, it's so stupid because they're like so, they have so much feeling. Like they love each other and they miss each other when they die or get sick. Like this has been shown that they are such emotional creatures, and that obviously makes me emotional. Henry needs to come in, so I'm going to pause this for 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, it's dinner time for them. Well, 20 minutes ago it was, but they're going to have to wait. So I've pulled myself together. I was saying elephants make me very sad, as witnessed by the crying that I just did just talking about them. So she worked with elephants for a long time, and then she did conservation with jaguars. I don't know why that sounds weird when I say it, but it does. And then she decided to really focus on her relationship. Well, she did a lot more than that. Again, I'm giving you a very broad strokes overview of these amazing messages about her life that she sent me. Then she went to live in Belgium so that she could like be closer to her boyfriend. They could focus on the relationship, see if it was going to be serious. And she decided to go back to school. And now, and I was explaining this to Mark, and I couldn't remember then. I can't remember now. So I'm an asshole. But she works in wine. I guess Belgium is an up and coming wine place. And so I really want to say like her and her boyfriend or possibly husband own a winery, run a winery. Maybe she just works with the winery. She's working in wine. And that's really the most important thing, because she went from working with elephants, which I find to be just the most amazing creatures that, you know, simultaneously break my heart and fill it up with joy. And now she's working with wine, which is also one of my favorite things. So, and living in Europe. So she also sounds she has a fantastic accent and just sounds like a very fascinating human. I think I told her in a previous conversation, like, you sound so interesting. You should really have a podcast. And hearing these messages just confirmed, like, what the fuck am I doing with a podcast? I went to two Costco's this weekend. Whoa, fascinating stuff. I mean, she's saving elephant lives and like creating her own wine. She should have a podcast. And her voice is, I mean, my voice is like Ruffles potato chips with French onion dip, and her voice is like caviar on a salmon Bellini. So there you have it. But I'm hoping she'll let me share the messages because you'll see what I mean. And then I got more voice messages from another lovely listener who started off. We also had been chatting on Instagram. Of course, you know, weeks and weeks go by. When I say chatting, it's like they say something, I say something, they say something, and then I don't see it for 2 months. But still chatting. And so I listened to her voice messages today, which are also from weeks and weeks ago. And she said, like, when I listen to you, you really remind me of me. She was talking about that I remind her of herself, and saying that like there were a lot of similarities. But the oversharing was kind of one of the bigger similarities, oversharing. Patreon, I go like this all the time because I have this mole, and I hate that word. I'd rather call it a freckle, but it's not a freckle. Right here, and it's been here forever, and I hate it so much. It's so ugly to me. It's really kind of blends into my skin. It's not that big of a deal, but I also have a big neck wrinkle here. And the mole goes right on the neck wrinkle, and I feel like it just draws attention to each other, and I'm so vain, and I hate it. So sometimes I cover it up on Zoom because I hate it so much. I just want to chop it off, but I need an actual dermatologist to do that. So, okay, back to the listener who said that I remind her of herself because she overshares. Her daughter calls her a yapper, meaning like she just can talk and talk and talk, which clearly, what are we at here, guys? We are at an hour, and I don't know what I've really shared. I mean, I do. I've shared a lot of stuff about Costco and Walmart and like really, really deep and fascinating things. But she said many things that I loved hearing and that were so interesting and learning about her. I really do enjoy learning about you guys. And it's one of my least favorite things about the podcast is that it isn't interactive. And I know I could solve that by bringing listeners on and recording with you. I'm also nervous to do that because I'm afraid I'll disappoint or it'll get awkward or I'll run out of things to say, which seems unlikely that I'll run out of things to say, but you never know. But the fact that I can't like ask a question and get an answer immediately, which I guess if I live streamed, that could happen because you guys could be like typing, but that also seems unrealistic because it's not like everybody can listen at the same time. You know what I mean? Anyways, she said many things that it was fascinating to hear about her and her life and hear the similarities between the two of us. But she paid me a really huge compliment that it might be what I think other people have maybe said renditions of this thought that she said on a occasion, and it always is the nicest compliment that I can get. And I don't know why. I'm going to tell you what it is first before I analyze it. she said, I know that the podcast is true crime, but even if you didn't do true crime, like even if you talked about something else, I think that we would still listen to you because we like listening to you. And she said, you're very honest and just, you're very much yourself. And that's such a huge compliment. Oh God, I want to analyze this on so many different levels. Part of me feels like it shouldn't be, because shouldn't we all be ourselves? How hard is it to be yourself? Well, it is hard to be yourself sometimes. I do know that. So that's a big compliment. I think that being myself in my own home, in my comfy clothes with my, coconut oil hair and my dog behind me, and there's nobody here. There's no audience. Like, I know that people are going to listen to this not as soon as I post it. I don't think people are running to the podcast player. The latest episode is out. But I don't think it's super, it's easy, I guess is what I'm saying, to be myself in this situation, because I'm literally talking to myself on Zoom. I'm looking at myself. And I'm also 40-ish, which is not old, but it's not young. Don't know why I need to say both of those things twice. I've been not myself. I've tried to be myself and couldn't at so many points in my life that at this point, this is it. I cannot waste any time trying to be somebody I'm not. I don't really even know how to do that anymore at this point in my life. I'm sure I could do it, but who wants to? My response to her, I did respond to her. Yes, of course I responded to her, because these messages were from a long time ago. And I said that's such a kind thing to say, and such a great compliment. And my knee-jerk reaction is to be like, why? Why would you listen to me? What am I saying that is worth listening to at all? And what am I bringing to the table here? But I've said that before. And I think I must have said it on a Patreon thing, because it still sticks in my mind that Micah said, please don't say that stuff anymore on the podcast. When she said to me, when you kind of make fun of anyone who's still listening at this point, I don't know why you're still listening to me, or I don't know why you're listening at all. She's like, that makes me feel like kind of, this isn't the word that she used, but she was like, that makes me feel kind of dumb, stupid. It makes me feel bad. If she thinks this isn't worth listening to, why am I listening? I'm listening because you know what I mean? I'm not explaining that well, but the way that Micah explained it was it's almost offensive when I say, I don't know who the hell would still be listening right now. That's crazy. That's rude. Why would I say that on my own podcast? I want you guys to listen, So, and I had never realized that. I had never thought of it that way. So when Micah left me a message saying that, I took it to heart, and that makes sense to me. And so my knee-jerk reaction to this woman, whose name I'm not going to say, on Instagram, who was saying that she would listen even if there wasn't any true crime, which, today there's not a lick of true crime. My knee-jerk reaction was to be like, why? Self-deprecating, I'm not worth listening to. And a lot of times I don't feel like I am, but also people are listening. If it's 5 people or 500 or 5,000 or 50,000 or whatever, it doesn't matter how many, whoever is actually dedicating their time to listen to whatever nonsense or not nonsense I'm saying, that is incredibly humbling and incredibly nerve-wracking a little bit, because if your time is the only thing that we can't get back in this world. So if you're giving your time, at least your ear time or brain time to me, I want to make it worthwhile. But then I go, because I can have full conversations with myself as I am now. Then I go back to the other extreme of maybe it just makes some people feel less alone, or maybe it just makes some people feel like somebody else is going through things that they're going through, or makes them think about something in a different way, because I'm lonely. A lot of Yeah. I was going to say not lonely, but yeah, I think sometimes I am lonely. I don't love working from home alone. I love working from home. I get to be home. I get to wear my whatever I want. I don't have to put on makeup. I can fold a load of laundry if I want in the middle of the day. Like I do love all of that, but I miss interacting with people and having people to talk to. And so I could see how listening to a podcast would certainly help that. And now I'm getting off topic again, but it was a really nice message. And I agreed after I listened to all of her messages. I was like, yeah, I kind of feel like I'm listening to myself. Like she definitely has we have similar traits. So that was a wonderful message to get. And then I got a message from somebody else here who works at the cemetery where my mom is buried. And she had messaged me probably the beginning of October, middle of October maybe. And she was so, okay. Okay, guys, I said, and then I paused the recording because for some reason my phone was trying to connect to my computer, so it stopped recording. Anyways, another listener, she works at the cemetery where my mom is buried, Evergreen Cemetery. I almost just said it, here in Tucson. She had invited me to this Day of the Dead celebration where they watch a movie in the cemetery. And it's so funny because I feel like that's not something that a lot of people would necessarily be into, but she must know me pretty well from listening to the podcast. And I believe she's been listening for quite a while because I remember her telling me and Jenna that she worked at Evergreen. And so she must, she's obviously familiar with me and us at this point. And so, yeah, I was so touched that she asked me if I, said if you want to come or if you and Mark want to come. And then, of course, I said, yeah, send me all the info and let me see if I can come. And then I never checked Instagram again and I missed it. And I'm really, truly disappointed about it because I think I would have loved to go watch a movie in the cemetery. I mean, I wish that they would do that like monthly because I would go. So I just, who you are. I wanted to say thank you again. I did write you today on Instagram, but thank you again for the invite. And please, please, please let me know if that ever happens again. And if it doesn't happen again until next year, the next year I'm in. I really would love to do that. Especially, I don't know why, because my mom is buried there. Just look, I would go see a movie in any cemetery. And I think they do that in Hollywood at the something cemetery. But because my mom is buried there, especially, I don't know, that would just feel really special. I can feel a coughing spell coming on, so I'm going to hurry through the rest of this. Ever since I quit smoking my e-cig vape pen, I get this tickle in my throat. And it's the worst because it happens in the middle of the store or right now. Wow, this is really primo podcasting. Coughing into the microphone and then just chugging water, wheezing a little bit. Man. Okay, guys. I'm going to say goodbye. I had other Instagram things to mention. Somebody suggested that I listen to My Favorite Murder. I'm going to. Somebody else wants to know my thoughts on all the Menendez brothers drama. I have thoughts. I also watched the Nicole Brown Simpson thing. It's old, but I had never seen it. I have other things to talk about, but this is pretty long. It is way past the dog's dinner time, and I'm about to just cough so hard, and I don't want to gross anyone out. So I'm going to say, oh my God, and the haunted house someone sent me on Instagram. I have other things. Maybe I'll pick this up later or tomorrow. So I'm just going to real quickly say, I truly love and appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate you liking me for me and sticking with me on this. There will be new true crime tomorrow. I'm going to go. Please text, email, DM. I love you. I love you. I hope everyone had a fantastic Monday, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Okay, love you. Bye.